You think you know someone until they decide to dismantle your life with the precision of a watchmaker. I'm Marcus Bell. For 10 years, I believed my marriage to Camille was ordinary and solid. A modest house, 2 kids, Ari, 8, Jonas, 6, Friday pizza nights, Sunday pancakes. I worked as a regional supervisor at a logistics firm. She ran a small photography business. We weren't glamorous, but we were us, the ambush one. Thursday, I came home to a living room staged like a crime scene. Camille stood there with her phone and a look I'd never seen. She lifted the screen, messages from me to a woman named Jessica, plans to meet, complaints about my marriage, things I had never said. Her phone sat recording on the coffee table. "Get out of my house," she said, "or I'll call the police." By the weekend, she'd filed a restraining order. I was suddenly an abusive, cheating husband who couldn't step near his own street. She pushed those screenshots to our family group chat. My parents begged me to explain the affair. My sister Danielle, the analytical one, studied the metadata and told me it looked real. At work, HR put me on unpaid leave. Liability concerns. I packed my desk under the eyes of security and became the guy who once had a career. My best friend, Tar, let me crash in his garage. His wife was scared of the headlines, and I couldn't blame her. I lay on a camping cot and listened to the sounds of a normal family on the other side of the wall, losing the kids' temporary custody hearing. Camille arrived in a widow black dress with a lawyer named Silas Vaughn, a man who oozed courtroom confidence. He presented a timeline of my supposed escalating control. Credit card questions recast as financial abuse, raised voices without context. Her phone recordings were selectively clipped. The arguments sounded like threats. My court-appointed lawyer mispronounced my name. Judge Hendricks awarded Camille full custody and gave me 2 supervised visits a week in a sterile room that smelled like disinfectant. Ari asked why I didn't live at home anymore. Jonas, serious and small, asked if it was true I was sick. Camille had told them I was. Each visit, they were one step farther away. A family friend, I later learned it was Silas, took them for ice cream. Ari asked why I'd been mean to Mommy. By the 4th visit, Jonas flinched when I reached for a hug. Rock bottom. I shoveled warehouses by day, cleaned offices by night, mowed lawns on weekends. The foreman yelled, "If your bathroom break ran past 3 minutes." People handed me cash without meeting my eyes. I paid $15 a week at a community clinic to talk to Dr. Pinner, who stared through the noise and said, "If you don't know who you are anymore, maybe that's an opportunity." I started boxing at a rundown gym and learned how to exhaust grief. For 18 months, I lived like that. $9 an hour, calloused hands, a photo of my kids in my wallet. Every night I'd whisper, "Survive now, win later." 9 million ways to breathe. One Tuesday, after digging trenches for a developer who sipped brunch cocktails on his deck, I bought a Powerball ticket with a crumpled 5. On Friday, I remembered it. Numbers matched, everyone. $9 million. I didn't shout. I didn't tell Tar. I called a real attorney. Renzo Phelps was everything my first lawyer wasn't. Sharp, expensive, and honest. He built a legal shell around the winnings. Trusts, LLCs, clean paper trails. Patrice Williams, a financial advisor, kept me from becoming another lottery cautionary tale. For the first time in 2 years, I slept without waking at 3 a.m. to check whether the ceiling might collapse. The cherry pie. 2 years after Camille erased me, she rang the bell at my new townhouse holding a cherry pie. "Marcus," she said softly, "I'm sorry. My cousin Deja admitted she faked those screenshots." She eased onto my couch, eyes scanning my furniture like an appraiser. Then she dropped the mask. "I know you won $9 million. We're still legally married. Community property, I've already filed, or we can settle fairly." I told her to leave. She smiled and said Silas was still her lawyer. The moment the door latched, I called Renzo. "I want everything," I said. "How she did it, who helped, where the bodies are buried." "That'll take a specialist," he said. "Someone with no moral squeamishness." Enter Simone. Drax, ex-cop turned PI, could bench press a Buick and dismantle a lie in under an hour. Within weeks, she'd peeled back the paint. Camille had no reported income but lived like she did. The cash keeping her afloat? Regular consulting payments from one Silas Vaughn. Dozens of hotel charges, some dated months before my marriage, detonated. Digital forensics gave us the rest. Camille had deleted messages with Silas from her phone but forgot about cloud backups and that her mother's iPad synced everything. Simone recovered threads discussing strategy, how to craft the screenshots, how to coach Camille's testimony, which neighbors to nudge, which fights to record, and which to lose. The smoking gun was a 17-minute audio file accidentally, saved on Camille's laptop. Her and cousin Deja laughing about how easy it had been to destroy me. "Marcus never saw it coming," Camille said on tape. "By the time we're done, he'll be broke and supervised for life. Silas gets paid and he gets me." I listened once. Then I stopped, because cold rage doesn't need repetition. Court. This time. Prepared. We returned to Judge Hendricks. Camille wore the same dignified suit. Silas brought charts about community, property, and financial secrecy. He called me punitive and selfish. Camille dabbed at her eyes and talked about the hardship of single motherhood. Then Renzo stood. He projected bank statements, $47,000 in payments from Silas to Camille, labeled consulting, hotel receipts, gifts, a tidy affair-shaped trail. Simone testified next, matter of fact, deleted texts reconstructed from the cloud, metadata proving the cheating screenshots were fabricated, a timeline where every blow to my life followed a flurry of messages between Camille and Silas, and finally, the audio. 17 minutes of my ex-wife laughing about my ruin echoed across the paneled room. By the end, the judge's face could have cracked granite. Silas stared at the table like it might open and swallow him. Renzo finished neatly. "We'll be filing a bar complaint against Mr. Vaughn for conspiracy and suborning perjury." Judge Hendricks didn't blink. She denied spousal support, dismissed Camille's claim to the winnings with prejudice, reversed custody, awarding me full physical custody pending review, and ordered Camille to pay my fees. Then she referred the matter to the district attorney. Finally, she looked at me. "Mr. Bell, the system failed you. I regret that." Walking out, I felt lighter than I had in years. Not because of money, but because the truth had finally made a sound louder than the lies. Aftermath. Silas faced disbarment and cooperated with prosecutors to save his skin. Camille faced charges for fraud and perjury and supervised visitation every other weekend. The kids, now 10 and 8, were cautious at first. Trauma teaches caution. Ari stood in my kitchen the first night back, watching me overload a taco with cheese. "Dad," she said, "that's too much." "There's no such thing," I told her, and doubled it anyway just to hear her groan. Jonas, precise as ever, asked if he had to ask permission to use hot sauce. "Buddy," I said, "this is your home. You don't have to ask to live here." They told the counselor they preferred to stay with me. Ari put it plainly. "Mom's sorry she got caught, not sorry she lied." Jonas, simpler. "Dad makes pancakes and doesn't lie." The $9 million turned into more than comfort. I started the Hands Clean Foundation, legal aid, investigative support, and counseling for parents falsely accused in family court. We've already helped a dozen. Families reunite and expose 3 more manufactured cases. Pain, pointed in the right direction, can be useful. The long game one evening by the lake near our new home. Jonas reeled in an empty line for the 15th time and asked, "Dad, are you happy now?" I looked at my kids, sun-dulled and laughing. I thought of that garage cot, of guy wire hope. strung between supervised visits, of a cherry pie left like a threat on my coffee table. "Yeah, buddy," I said, pulling him close. "I'm happy." Back home, I taped a new photo next to the old zoo picture in my wallet. The three of us at the lake, badly sunscreened, free. Not to erase the past, but to remind me that patience, preparation, and truth outlast performance and lies. Camille tried to bury me. In the end, she buried herself. And we, finally, came home.